There's a weight that I carry sometimes that doesn't come from doing too much. Oftentimes, that weight comes from saying too little, from holding in the truth, biting my tongue, stuffing down the thing I really want to say. Whether it's to protect others, avoid conflict, or preserve my image, I sometimes silence myself and then lie to myself and call it wisdom. But often, it's really just fear of rejection, fear of what will happen if I say the hard thing. But what if speaking truth authentically and courageously is the very thing that sets us free? That's what I'd like to talk about today. And I'd like to help step you through a process that I continually go through about how to identify why this fear exists and how to walk through it so that you can be free to say the truth. In my experience, the first step is asking the right questions and having self awareness. The first question I would urge you to ask yourself is, why am I not comfortable saying the truth? What have I learned about what happens when I speak up? Is it really unsafe now to speak the truth? Or am I living from an old pattern or a system that I used to be a part of that wasn't okay? Lastly, what's the risk if I speak the truth? And more importantly, what's the cost if I stay silent? I urge you to think about these questions and really answer them and take the time to explore what those answers are for you. The next thing I'd like to go into is how to spot the signs of holding back. What are the signs physically in my body? Because oftentimes I have held back and not spoken the truth and wasn't aware of what I was really doing. I'd like you to explore how your body tells you you're holding something back, whether it's clenching your jaw, holding your breath, avoiding eye contact. Does your chest get tight when you think about saying the hard thing? Do you have a tendency to fidget or freeze? These are all things that you can tap into within your own body that are clues as to your emotional and physical state when something comes up that you should be listening to. Your body knows before your mouth does. The third thing that I think is important is to build courage. There is an amount of emotional regulation needed to tell the truth. In order to build the courage, what I found helpful is not letting it fester. It's really hard at first, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. If you tell the truth and say in love the truth early on before it festers, then later you won't be spouting the truth like an angry volcano. This isn't about performance. It can feel really uncomfortable and self conscious to live authentically in the moment and say what needs to be said, whatever is on your heart, and doing that without fear. But the focus on how I'm going to look when I say these things should be less important than speaking the truth for the sake of speaking the truth. And also remember, more than likely, even though it feels risky in the moment, and it depends on what crowd you're in, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, you're going to experience relief and freedom after practicing this. It may not feel that way in the beginning, but over time it will. So, what builds confidence over time is telling the truth is not guaranteeing an outcome. You're guaranteeing that you're being authentic and standing in courage and integrity in this moment. And that's more important than the outcome. Once you're not fixated on the outcome, but you're more concerned about the integrity, that's what will build your confidence over time. The last thing I'd like to touch on is how to practice this. I encourage all of you to practice this in a place where you feel safe doing so, in a group that you feel at least somewhat comfortable saying and being who you really are. And people who are emotionally available, who won't punish you for being honest, people who can sit with discomfort without needing to fix you or run away is really important. So practice this in the right group of people, and you know who those people are in your life. You need someone who can hold space for you to tell the truth and for you to fall apart and for things to be really uncomfortable for you. So starting in this place is incredibly valuable. So I hope this helps you with saying the thing that you don't want to say out loud. And I want to close with why this matters. When we speak what's true, especially the things we've been afraid to say, we make space for real healing and we stop performing and let people actually see us. And then slowly we begin to show up in the world with more courage, clarity, and compassion. And our cup overflows and we can serve better in our families. That's what truth telling does. It doesn't just change the conversation, it changes you. And honestly, who wouldn't want to live with that kind of freedom? Even though this might be a little uncomfortable to listen to, I think it's a good first step. Leaning in to that might be something you could consider. Think about, what are the things that you're not saying out loud? What are the moments in my life where I hold back? And then practice feeling that, understanding that a little bit more, and then slowly over time start to implement being authentic and telling the truth in the moment and experience that freedom that comes from it. Slowly over time, you'll become more free, clear, confident, and able to be the person that God made you to be.